When I was in college, I studied abroad in Spain. It was supposed to be a 3-month program, but I only made it about 6 weeks before I basically went running back home as fast as I could. Hey everyone, I'm Donna and you're watching Wanted Adventure Living Abroad. Whenever I'm in the US and I meet someone new, it pretty quickly comes up that I live in Germany and they ask, well, how did you end up there? And so I tell them the short version of the story that I graduated from college, didn't know what I wanted to do, so I sold everything at a yard sale and bought a one-way ticket to Prague. And usually they comment on that with surprise, and then sometimes something like, oh wow, you're so brave. And when I hear that, I don't really know how to respond because yes, just selling everything and moving to Europe without knowing anyone does seem like a brave thing to do. But you know, when they say you're so brave, that makes it sound like I'm somehow intrinsically just a brave person, like I'm Indiana Jones or something, you know, totally fearless. But that's not what it is. And I just want to really quickly tell them the whole story of Spain and explain to them that I'm not just intrinsically some brave person, but rather I just really wanted to live in Europe or to live abroad somewhere. I just wanted it really badly. So here's the story of my not so brave first time abroad. Let's start at the very beginning at the airport in South Florida. My mom brought me to the airport and I guess the woman behind the counter saw that I was just so petrified and so scared that she wrote my mom a pass to join me through security and go with me to my gate, which was not allowed anymore at this time. I guess she did not want me fainting on the way there. So my mom escorted me through security and to the gate. And really, I was so nervous about going on this trip. My heart was just pounding the entire time. I felt like I was gonna throw up. I was so scared. Not only would this be my first time in Europe, it would also be my first time changing planes. I flew from West Palm Beach to New York, from New York to London. Then for the very first time, I had to figure out how to get all by myself from the airport to the hotel, then took my very first public transportation from the hotel to the city center, saw London as quickly as I could, and then 24 hours later flew down to Granada, Spain. So as you can imagine, by the time I got there, I was jet lagged and already kind of mentally windblown just from all the new experiences that I'd already had just getting over there. All right, this video is just gonna last forever if I keep up in story mode, so I'm just gonna real quickly tell you a list of all the things that happened within the first 3 weeks of my first trip abroad. It was my first day there. I went straight from the airport to go meet my host family. I was so excited to meet them. But when I got there, I realized it wasn't so much a host family as it was just a host little old lady. You know, I had been expecting to live with a family who would take me into their family and make me feel at home and show me all the fun festivals and teach me about Spanish culture. But instead it was just this nice little old lady who had a spare bedroom and she could use the money that the program would pay her for my room and board. And that's pretty much it. She wasn't interested in any kind of cultural exchange. And then when I tried to talk to her, I quickly realized that I couldn't even communicate with her because she didn't actually speak Spanish. She spoke Catalan. And so suddenly, oh my goodness, I felt so alone in the world and just homesick. And all I wanted to do was call my parents. The program should have given me a cell phone when I first got there, but they didn't have it ready for some reason. And I wasn't allowed to use the phone of my madre, and so I didn't know what to do. I ran outside. There was a square. There were some pay phones. I didn't have any money yet, but all I could think of was dial down the middle, 1-800-COLLECT. So yes, I called my parents collect from that square in Spain, and thank you, Mom and Dad. They accepted the collect call from done. So yeah, I stood there for about 10 minutes just sobbing on the phone. I was so scared. Very quickly into the trip, I got sick. Not just a little sick, but super sick, and I had to go to the hospital. I was having like chest pains. Perhaps that's sickness combined with panic. So I have to go to the hospital. The doctor there doesn't speak English. You know, I can sort of speak Spanish, but it's really scary, for me it was really scary to go to the hospital and not be able to talk to the doctor. The daughter and grandchildren of my sweet little old lady madre would come over a couple times per week, and the daughter, this 40-year-old woman, was so mean to me. She would yell at me for the kind of makeup I was wearing. She told me I looked like a whore. She told me I would never get any guys that way. She yelled at me one night because when we were eating, I had one hand resting on my leg, and I didn't know that that's rude in Spain. That's why I was there, to learn these things, but you don't have to yell at me for it. So she was coming over all the time, yelling at me. 2 weeks into the program, I still had not gotten a working cell phone. Everyone else had, so they were all texting their loved ones, but I couldn't do that. Whenever I wanted to contact them, I had to buy the phone cards. I wasn't dialing down the middle anymore, but I had to always go out to the payphone and make calls home, and it was really cold, so I'm sitting there freezing, crying, you know, my tears are freezing on my cheeks as they roll down. It was a really pathetic scene. Really sad thing happened. One day, I came home from school, and the guy in the apartment next to us had stayed home with a cold. He slipped and he fell and he hit his head and he died. And it was just so gut-wrenching and sad. The wife came home and found him dead, and you could hear her screaming, and it just was so sad. I know this really didn't have anything to do with my study abroad experience, but just having that happen reminded me how important our loved ones are. And as if I didn't miss my family enough, now I was like, what am I doing here? I just wanted to run home and be with the people that I loved. Then in my third week, very sad again, my madre slipped and fell, and she was injured and had to go to the hospital. She was okay. She did come out of it okay, so that was good, but she couldn't care for me anymore. I couldn't stay there anymore, and so the program was like, oh, well, I guess we're gonna have to find somewhere else to put you. So their first idea was to put me and my wonderful roommate, by the way. That was the one wonderful thing about it. I had such a great roommate. They wanted to put us with my madre's daughter, the evil daughter, because she wanted to still be getting the money from us in her family. So they were like, yeah, you'll just go live with her. I said, does she even have an extra room? Oh no, the kids will go sleep in the living room and you can sleep in the kids' beds. And I was like, no, there's no way I'm living with that woman. She was so mean to me. So they finally said, okay, fine, we won't put you with her, but we really don't know who else to put you with. So they just basically found someone that had never been screened, that had never worked for their program before, just some other little old lady who had flyers out saying that she had an open room. So we went to go live with her, and on the very first day, the first thing that I noticed was that her door was covered in deadbolt locks. And I was like, wow, okay, either we really are now living in a very bad part of town, or this woman is just psycho. Turns out it was number 2, although I'm not really sure which one I would have preferred. Number 2, because she also kept locks on the kitchen door. We were not allowed to go into the kitchen. It was locked and off limits. And she didn't feed us very much because, again, she was just in this to make money. She just wanted to make money off of us. So the less she fed us, the more of the money she actually got to keep that the program was paying her. So we weren't given very much food, or at least not enough for me. I was always hungry, and we weren't allowed to go into the kitchen, and we weren't allowed to keep food in our room, but I was so hungry, so I would sneak food into the house and hide underneath my cover in the bed, eating these muffins or whatever I had bought at the store. Yeah, that's pretty pathetic, right? So yeah, I mean, maybe you think of those things and you just think like, wow, that's not a big deal at all. I could live through all of that. In the moment when I was there, this was all just way too much for me. For my first time abroad, it was just all too much. My heart was just panicking the entire time. So much culture shock and not a very caring or loving environment to help me learn about the new culture and get the experience that I wanted to. So after 6 weeks, on the payphone outside, I called my study abroad advisor and I told her, I'm done. I have seen a lot of Granada and I loved this city. That was also, besides my roommate, the one other really amazing thing about the trip. I did love Granada. So beautiful. But I'd had enough. I'd seen what I needed to see and I was ready to go home. But when I got back, I felt both relieved, but also, like a failure. I mean, I was supposed to stay there 3 months. And I only made it 6 weeks. And instead of seeing it as, wow, you spent 6 weeks abroad, it was like, you didn't make it the last 6 weeks. And it didn't help that I had the words of my study abroad advisor playing over and over in my head, what she had said to me when I called her that night from the payphone, so upset. She said, if you quit now, if you leave, you will never get over that fear and you will never make it back to Europe again. Okay, so fast forward a few years later to my last year of college, and I was still holding on to that feeling of having been a failure when the guy I was dating at the time said that we should go to England together. And I was like, yes, this is my chance to have a really great European experience. So we went to England and yeah, it didn't exactly work out. We fought the entire time and we ended up breaking up and I literally cried the entire flight back, the 8 hours from England back to the US. I was that person sitting there sobbing the whole time. So yeah, that didn't exactly work. So then you can probably imagine the surprise of my friends and family when 4 months after that, I told them that, hey, guess what, guys? I'm moving to Prague. And I sold all my stuff and bought a one-way ticket to Prague. And they were like, are you crazy? What are you doing? Europe just doesn't work out for you. Why are you going back over there and moving there? And I was like, guys, I'm not coming back. And they were like, okay, yeah, we'll see you in 3 months. And I was like, no, you won't see me in 3 months. You won't see me in 6 months. Maybe one day obviously I would come back to visit, but I was like, I'm moving there. And I didn't know anyone and I didn't know what would happen, but something I really wanted to go back for a third time and make it work. Something pulled me back over here. And so 7 years later, here I still am. So my question for you is, what kind of less than ideal abroad experiences have you had? How did they make you feel? How did you deal with them? What happened? Please let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe for more videos and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. And also for more behind the scenes photos and other short videos, you can check me out over here on my Twitter and my Facebook page. Until next time, auf Wiedersehen. I really did like those croquetas as well. Oh my God, croquetas. I love croquetas. Oh, so good.